Looking for some buys here on Goldie. Morning, we got Woods in the chat. Good morning, guys. Oh, Richard. Oh, okay. So you can find that all those links in the description box. Richard. Morning, Jay. Morning, Veronica Skates. Thanks for the dubs. Morning, Ahmed. Ricardo, Ryan, Luke. So we're looking for buys right now. I'm looking for buys. Oh yeah, there's no we in trading. Just me, you, and everybody else. So we're going to be looking for some buys over here. If we can break above 4,009. And we're trading above $4,000 here. Back above 4,000 psychological mark. I really do hope it doesn't break the console to the downside, because I do want it to break the highs, because this looks like very clean. Very clean move. But if it breaks the lows, you know, then we got to see what happens. Hopefully we don't get a rangy London session like we had yesterday and Monday. What day is it? Thursday. Monday and Tuesday, actually, I think. But it's still early because the daily is only up 0.60% right now. So, you know, I reckon we haven't had the move like we had yesterday shortly before the stream started. That was already the push. And then we're like at the top of it. So there's a bit more room over here to definitely push up above some highs. So that's good. Nice little console play. Man, if you see price this morning, just complete garbage. Look at the way the whole of a pre-London time, Asia time was over here. Man, look at this. Just complete garbage, eh? So many wicks over here. I got stopped out. I got stopped out. I was like, come on, man. Price can move up here. Because, you know, we're at the bottom of the range as well. So I saw my consolidation play on the 1 minute and I took it. Saying, okay, so, you know, if we're at the bottom of the range, then most likely we're just going to move up. Daily's bullish anyway. Yeah, then it just kind of decided to wick here a bit. And then did one last liquidity grab for the sellers. Actually, could have gotten away with the trade over here. But one last liquidity grab for the sellers before price skyrocketed up here. And man, look at the way we've just been moving since. We also had daily candlestick closure being bullish from yesterday too. Oh, look at this, volumes coming in. All right, I'm gonna be getting stuck in here when we break these highs, anticipating a bullish continuation. Let's put this like right here. Boom, boom, boom. So we just got the London Open. You got caught in the liquidity grab? It was a good push. It was a good push, but it reversed. Once it reversed. It didn't come back down there. Nice little SMA Confluence on the 1 minute. We're gonna get that 5 minute SMA Confluence in there too. This price starts to push up a bit more. Oh, we're seeing a bit of exhaustion here on the 15 minute with those wicks. Got a bit of exhaustion. I know it looks scary. Price already moved up 1, 2, 3, and it's some kind of a resistance there. But you know, that's why we're accumulating right now, so we can keep moving up bullish. Because on the hourly time frame, we haven't even had the 3 white soldiers yet. Still got a new clean 1 hour candle over here. This one could be the one that pushes up again one last time. Just try to catch that hourly candle. At the end of the day, you know, it's like, can you catch an hourly candlestick? So let's see. Break above these highs. Keep moving up with this bullishness right over here. Oh, here it comes. Is it waking up? I would like for that 5 minute to close though. At least we can get a new 5 minute candlestick. Right? I see like this one's still open up. It will be much more fresh if the new 5 minute candlestick would be opening up. At least to give us more of a push. Because if we break on this one, it would still feel like a bit overextended. It might play around here for a bit. Then the next one has to open, create a bottom wick, and then break the highs. We got about like 30 seconds there before it breaks. You're waiting for a drawback under 4K. To you, price is exhausting. I want to see the buyers hold 4K. Is it creating a support here? Just got the new 5 open. Oh man, open without a bottom wick. I hope that's not going to be too much of an issue since it is a volume-based entry anyway. Hey, what's up, mister? Big good morning, bro. We have the same setup. You missed 2 buys. Oh, nice. Yeah, so I'm going to get these continuation here. Because, you know, the market is abundant of moves. There's no scarcity in the market. So, you know, I might have missed a few buys early on, but, you know, probably going to get some buys here too. But I knew this week was going to be choppy. I knew this week was going to be choppy. First week of the month, ADP, NFP, all that jazz. You could tell even by the way the candlesticks have been behaving. Especially with these sellers, you know, these sellers are quite interesting. Still in the market, but anyway, since like ADP, we still held strong. Daily still closed bullish. We seem to still hold strong. Let's see with the kill zones. I think Trump spoke as well. Oh, NY session was nasty yesterday. There's not a lot of room, like a lot of consolidation here too. Holy. We see like prices pushing up. It's like it wants to go up. It wants to go up. It's selling pressure, but it wants to go up. Because this candlestick, it would not have continued pushing like this. Fine, we created a support. We're at the bottom of the range. But I would be expecting then this candle here on this daily to just keep filling this range over here, this previous daily, to keep pushing further down, like if price wanted to go down on gold. But it's not behaving like it wants to go down on the higher time frame there. But we get these odd pushes to the downside every now and then, but it does seem like it's gradually moving up. We're up right now 0.70%. Was that yesterday? I passed a prop firm, 4 trading days, last $32. I was so afraid of going back up. I took 3 trades using so small lot size, passed the challenge by $4. Tomorrow I start trading it. Let's see if they pay. Oh, nice. Congratulations. Let's go. Yeah, it's always towards the end, eh? Always towards the end that where psychology really like kind of messes with you. It's like that with a lot of things. You gotta like overthink it and then you're gonna mess it up. I remember the last professional swimming tournament that I had, and man, I overthought that race because I was already towards the tail end of like just stopping completely and no longer racing. So I was like, okay, you know, this is probably my last tournament over here and this is gonna be my last race. Man, I overthought the tumble turn. You know, when you get to the wall, then you do the flip. I overthought that shit and then I missed it. And it just messed up the whole race. And my coach was like, what the hell is wrong with you? It's always like that, man. Right to the end. But glad you passed it. Glad you passed it. Let's go. Man, that's why you should never look at your P&L. You know, you should never look at your results that much because you're gonna like always overthink it. Like if you're doing pretty good, then you're gonna maybe make yourself do not as good. You just gotta keep trading, right? Just forget about it. Forget about it. Next trade's around the corner. Is the market currently bullish? Yes. It's currently bullish. Right now. Gold has been shitty for real. Have been getting hits back to back, but will recover. Yeah, it's because, you know, when you get caught in these ranges like this, what we saw, like even today there in the pre-London time, it's really nasty, you know. It's very nasty price action. So I'm just like hitting it. I'm hitting it. I'm still giving it my shots. I'm not letting it demotivate me, because, you know, like that's just how some months go in trading. Maybe I'll show you some. Yeah, some months just go like that, where it's like gold is not always perfect. It's gonna have times in the market where it's like very choppy, very wicky. You even see on the 5-minute here, we're starting to generate wicks, but I'm hopeful that we can still get that volume that we usually get. Just the normal plays that I take on a daily. You know, you just gotta keep hitting it. Because that's when people get demotivated, they start strategy hopping, because they're not managing their risk, you know. They're overexposing themselves in crappy markets. You should never overexpose yourself, but you should also not just you should also not just kind of like give up on it. But I definitely had some months this year where it was somewhat like that too. Because, you know, the idea is like, if you're going to take 100 trades, how many of those 100 trades are going to give you an option for a winning trade, or like, you know, even a break even and a losing trade? So you're going to sample size this kind of like an entry model here. Try execute on it properly. Then, you know, then the rest is history. Some things are just out of your control. You know, like in business, sometimes things are just out of your control for a while until they go back to normal. So let's see if we can get volume to come in here. Can we get volume? One big candle, please. Just one huge candle to give me a 0 drawdown entry. Boom. Straight to profits. That's all that I need here today. An easy trade. It's an easy setup. Don't have to overthink this setup. I think it's pretty straightforward. Now all we gotta do is get stuck in. Just get stuck in. Actually, these are like the easiest trades. Hey Vic, I can't hear you on Discord. Really? Can you guys hear me? Hello. Yes. Oh, okay. So yeah, no, it's working. It's working. I think that's just you. You gotta check your settings here on that microphone. Click on that arrow and then change the output device. I got a keyboard now. Helps a lot for me. What is this? BE, buy, sell, and manual close. Oh, that's sick. This is like home do it yourself. Hotkeys. Oh, you made some hotkeys from this. It's like the magic keys, actually. Nice. Now you gotta turn the volume up here. You also got some volume knobs. Yo, can you turn some knobs over here so price can move up? Costs about 15 euros. Pretty good. Gets the job done, I guess. You use the rest of the buttons for like risk 1%, 0.5%, 1.5%. All right, so we're coming in here, or like pips even. But we're coming in here. We're coming in here. Give us a clean break, Goldie. Next candlestick has to go if this one doesn't trigger me in. Come on, let's fly. Let's be a bullish day, Gold. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since we've seen you really stick to a direction. All right. Small little resistance. Let's see. Need a strong break. That's what I'm waiting for. I don't know if this candle could still do it. It could still reflip. Oh. Starting to break. Slight break. Not a strong break. Oh, we got the new 5-minute open. All right. See if we can get this continuation here. The break could have been nicer though on this candle. If this either one of these two candles broke, this one or this one, but got it on that one right there. But I still think the structure looks really nice for continuation. Especially because that 5 created the bottom wick first. Close above it right here. Broke the highs. Up 0.70%. Plenty of room to keep moving up.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Come on, flag Goldie. Alright guys, stop loss to break even here. This comes a risk-free trade here at 20 points. I'm gonna close by 40.13. Let's fly Goldie. Come on now. It's a little bit more. All right, securing right here. Should be in a risk-free trade. Let's get it. Yeah, just about 39.40 over there. Beautiful push. Let's go. Sniper exit, but I still think it can still push through that level though. Wow, holy man, what an exit that is. I'll post a picture later on my YouTube like I always do. Make sure you're following my community posts. That's where I post all the screenshots of my trades, also on Discord and everything. Sniper exit, oh my days. If that actually reverses, I got the tippy top. But I still think it's got leg room, man. Like, it's got leg room because like the whole idea here is you see price accumulated. Did we actually have drawdown? Boom. Let me see. How much was this? It hit about 9.7, came back a bit, and then continued to follow through. Yeah, like pretty normal. That was actually a pretty normal trade. That's exactly how I would more or less expect it to go. except for these two candles. That was a bit sus. Like the fact that this candle here didn't break the highs. Remember, like this candle was all the way here for so long, it still didn't break the highs. Then it was this candlestick that broke the highs. Because normally when we're breaking, man, we should just break with a lot of conviction. But yeah, I still think the setup, generally speaking, was a pretty nice setup. Every time I join your trade, I win. I'm joining your community next month. You're the simplest trader I knew. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's very simple here. You know, for me, the market's always just gonna... Oh, wow, look. New 5 minute just opened up. For me, the market is always just either gonna go up or down. Then you just need your entry confirmations. Because this is a point A, correct? So this is what we're trying to catch. We're trying to catch the move. It's quite interesting the way different people look at the market. For me, I just always see the market moving. It either stops and then moves. It stops and then moves. That's how I see the market. So depending on the way you trade, I haven't spent too much time looking at other people, but I, you know, some people, they're gonna take trades like even inside these ranges, which is always quite interesting because they can still get a movement like that. But for me, that always feels a bit odd. Like for me, it just makes more sense. Like if the market stops and consolidates somewhere, then it has its extension. It's the same thing that happened here. It's the same thing that happened right over here as well. Because, you know, like when markets consolidate for a long time, they're going to have a big move come out of that consolidation. So you see how we consolidate here for a long time, and then you're going to have a big move after that. See, consolidate and then have a big move again after that. See how this month here unfolds for me. Warm up. This is still warming up here for November. Yeah, this week I kind of look at it as a write-off, you know. I'm still up for the week, but it's kind of a write-off because I feel like gold, you know, the thing I notice about my results is when gold moves, my results move. But when gold doesn't move, my results also don't move anywhere. You know, so your strat should also kind of like be in line with the market. It should have some kind of like, it should make sense with what the market is doing. So I knew this week, man, gold this week, the main thing gold had, oh, still moving up here. Yeah, the main thing gold has to do this week is recalibrate. That's all that we got to do this week. We just have to see after this jobs data and all this stuff, get like a good, because if you look at the daily, right, look at where the daily is on gold. It obviously needs to recalibrate a bit here, correct? Like we've been having pretty strong sells, but now we carried us like a support, but there's been this fear of sell-offs on gold. You see, as we bumped into this little support over here, so we gotta kind of recalibrate. And I think the best thing would be if price closes above 40.27 over there. If we can close above 40.27, then I think the daily can, you know, move up here and we're gonna have a pretty stress-free week up ahead. But we just gotta get through this situation because this is an area in the market that could also consolidate. It's got a potential to consolidate right over here. So we don't want to see that. We do not want to see daily candlesticks start consolidating within this area because that's also going to make the lower time frames a bit tricky. So we want to see candlesticks start popping up like this. Boom, boom, and see those daily, that higher time frame direction. That's it. That's all that is. Stress-free trading. Now, let me see. Man, we should just be patient. You can be so patient if you only pick the trades which are so obvious to you. You know, you're gonna if you just have like a picture of the trade somewhere and then just say, okay, you know, this is the only trade I'm gonna take, you're really gonna achieve stress-free trading. But you know, sometimes the market prints it and it's not like exactly the way we want to see it. And those are the trades that we take, which you can do with a more experience. But man, if you're really trying to be careful and as consistent as possible in the beginning, you just have to execute on those ones which just naturally come to you. The ones where you don't even like overthink them, correct? Like you all have had these trades before that you don't even overthink, right? The easy ones. And then those other ones you overthink a bit, but they can still be winning trades, but they don't feel as good. See, path to funding, rule 1, maximum loss limit, Oh, let's go. See, best day, 898. Worst day, $500. This is excellent risk management over here. See, the worst day, $500. Best day, 898. On a, what is this? Consistently target, best day below 50%. How long did it take you to pass this challenge? Profit streak, 4 days. Oh, nice. Man, and you passed it in this environment? That's crazy. How'd you pass the challenge like in this environment? Because ever since Goldie, I think on the 3rd, maybe like somewhere around here, the market has not been the easiest to trade. So, man, you passed with odds really stacked up against you, sir. There are 10 inside bars on 4-hour stress-free breakout. 10 inside bars on 4-hour. And there are 400 15-minute candles in every week. So you don't want to overtrade. There's a lot of 15-minute candles. It is struggling right here by 40.13. You know what else I noticed was that where you secure your profit is also a psychological support or resistance. You know, it's the same like, now it's running over here.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
It's the same like when you got the SMAs, how they act as a form of psychological support or resistance. And key numbers like, you know, $4,000 over here per troy ounce. Also, where you secure profit is psychological. Because you'll tend to see that, like, maybe your trades run like, you know, let's say 18 pips. They hit 18 pips, then reverse. So like 20 pips and then they reverse. Then you're going to wonder to yourself, man, why does this keep happening? You know? You take trades in live usually? Man, we just took a trade in live right now. Oh. Let's fly, Goldie. Is the indicator free? Yep. One problem is the Supreme Court will rule in favor of Trump tariffs, so cancel all of them. I don't know a time for that decision. Gold will fly. Yeah, I think like people were watching Trump speak yesterday, expecting markets to move. But I don't know if gold really had too much of a reaction. Maybe if you're trading something else. Some kind of stocks. We don't have anyone speaking today though. Except Bailey, if you're trading the pound. We got official bank rate 7 a.m. pre-New York. Gold flat. Put a 16 pip stop loss on this. Could have easily survived that too. It was not easy or stress-free. A lot of the hours I was a slave in front of the screen for about 5 to 6 hours each day. Damn. Yeah, at least you got the job done. But yeah, definitely not the ideal situation. I think on average, if I just traded for myself, I could probably finish 2 trades within 1 hour. Let's say 1 to 2 hours. Because like a trade like this, how long were we even on stream for? We're just on stream like 17 minutes, technically speaking, right? 17 minutes. And then this morning as well, let me see, I was on the chart for 25 minutes. So within like 1 or 2 hours, 2 trades down for the day. Because, you know, it comes or it doesn't come. If you get the trade, awesome. If not, then just push it over to the next session. Because you're just trying to catch like volume, right? So this is the London Open. This is the pre-London move. Looks like that was a real move. The real move was bullish. And they're like, okay, so I kind of missed that move. Just come back the next time. See, you never miss a move. Market's abundant of opportunities. Some people like operating from scarcity mindset where it's like, oh, you know, you're gonna miss out on something. But look at this. We came in later, still caught the move. Simple. If you miss this move, don't worry. The next moves are around the corner. How do I get the daily indicator? It's in the description box. Now we can go and read the newspaper. Gold firms on softer dollar, US government shutdown. Shut it down. Gold inched higher on Thursday as dollar slipped for 4th month high as investors remain uncertain regarding the US economic outlook. See, the dollar nudged a bit lower, which has made the task easier for gold in terms of gaining traction to the upside. Nice. Got that 4-wheel drive on. US private employers added 42,000 jobs in October, exceeding Reuters' forecast at 28,000. The ADP report showed on Wednesday. Stronger labor market could temper interest rate cut hopes. Congressional... You see, like, this is like news that's actually going against what gold should be doing right now here. But that's why I don't overthink it, because the market can be a bit paradoxical. You might see some negative news, but man, gold can just do the opposite. So what are you gonna do? You know, are you gonna be right, or are you gonna make money? Big difference. Big difference in trading. Either you're right or you're making money. You know, it's harder to be right. Gold did rather go against the grain yesterday by rising despite the stronger US macro data, because traders haven't lost sight of the fact that the current government shutdown has been the longest one yet. The Fed cut interest rate last week. Powell suggested it might be the last reduction of 2025. It's a suggestion here. I want to see gold break that daily, to be honest. That daily resistance. I love it when the higher time frame structure looks like our intraday time frames. You know, if we could just freaking break this level. There's a 4-hour resistance there with clean range. It's right here. You see, we're coming back up to it by 40.25. Look at this. Break above 40.25. And we should be off to the races towards like 41.10. Beautiful. Love it. Man, I love days like this, where you just get the trade in stream in the first 30 minutes. Those are the best days. Get the trade, move over to the next trade. Daily will def break, it's up to something. At least we're taking 4,000. It's definitely up to something. That 4 hours creeping up. Might get a better idea from today as well. Oh, already ending the week tomorrow. Man, look at our weekly candle here. It hasn't even moved that much. Look at how small the candlestick body is. So for Freaky Friday tomorrow, man, we could see like a very nice move. Because that weekly has not had like its volume in it yet, you know? unless it closes like a doji. But there's so much potential. It's like a fresh hourly candlestick, straight out the bakery, this one. That's why it's always like, you know, when you get like a breakout like this, it's much nicer when you get a new fresh candle. It's straight out the bakery, you know, fresh candle that can just keep moving up. Look at this. This is just one 5-minute candle here. Just moved up like 47 pips. But you see, like when it's like stale bread, it's no good. Nobody likes stale bread over here. And the thing is also the hourly candle was fresh at the entries. You see, still break of these highs. Look at this. 1, 2 bullish candlesticks in a row. This candle, you'd rather have this candle be the trade than now start getting the next hourly candlestick for the continuation. Because, you know, now we finally got that 3 white soldiers. Like, it's still quite young. You might think it's overextended, but you see, like for the people here on stream who thought it was overextended, now you can see why that the human mind is such a bad trader, is because you're gonna always talk yourself out of positions. You're gonna say what you feel and not what you see. What you see is prices moving up. Screw what you feel. Your feelings don't make any difference here in the market, you know? It doesn't matter how bad you feel that the market should do something. If the market doesn't do it, it doesn't do it. Simple. Again, just like the guy from The Big Short. Remember in the movie? Thank God it worked out for him in the end, but he felt the market should go down because of all the data that he had about the housing market blowing up, and price said completely something different. You know, and it doesn't matter how right you are. It doesn't matter how strong your feeling is. The market will always just be the market, emotionless, like money. Money has no emotion. That's why bad people use money, and that's why good people use money. You can use money for good, you can use money for bad. There's no emotion tied to money. It just moves. Money just moves. So, you know, like all those feelings, those are like all man-made feelings. That's why a lot of people, they never understand money, you know. Very difficult to build a good relationship with money. That's why I mark weekly open on the chart above the candle. Man, like if you see guys like Steve will do it, this famous YouTuber, these guys who have money, they treat money like in a whole different way than when you don't have money. Like Steve will do it as a guy who owns like 15 houses. You know, he's a famous YouTuber. He owns like 15 houses, but he's always broke because he spends all his money on gambling. He always goes to the casino, always asking his buddies for loans. But man, this guy has like 15 houses, I think, in LA or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, think about it this way. If you had $1 million invested into something, a fund that gives you like 10% each year, man, that's like you're going to be rich forever, provided that you're staying within some kind of a budget, you know? But like each month, you're going to be pretty much rich forever at that point. If you have $1 million invested into something, and you stay within a budget, you're going to be very comfortable. So your perspective of money is also going to change. But getting the first million is the hardest. Right? I'm sure a lot of you will be comfortable with like around $8,000 a month. Would you say that would be comfortable enough to live off $8,000 a month? Right in the chat. Is that enough? Is that enough to satisfy all your comfortability? $8,000 a month passively. Not doing anything. You know, some month you're gonna even save money. And you're gonna like only increase the surplus. You know, Steve? Nice. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to show you like how money changes, you know? How your perspective of money changes. More than enough? Yes, of course. Yeah, I think for most people it would be good. For most people, you know, you probably like even go to a country where you don't pay like, you know, so much money. Maybe living in New York, for example, maybe in New York you'd need like what, $5,000 to survive in New York because it's super expensive. But man, even that $5,000, $8,000, somewhere just a little bit cheaper can stretch a lot longer. Much nicer for you. 8K a month will have me living even more like a king. Yeah, exactly. Like, what's the minimum? What's the average in China? How much do average people in China make a month? I'll be comfortable if my neighbor gets $8,000 a month doing nothing. It's simple. That's why Steve will do it. He spends literally all his money at casinos because he knows worst case scenario, he's got his little nest egg over there. So you always gonna look at this people and be like, damn, like you're rich but cash poor. Most of Southeast Asia averages $500 a month income. Yeah, $500 is, man, you can't do nothing with that. Even in a third world country, $500 is still little. Yeah, so you have to respect money and be indifferent from it, you know, because money has no feelings. It's just a matter of like, how do you treat it? You know, how do you grow it? But don't be attached to it. Don't hold on to it. Money is like the crazy, what do you call it? It's like you're trying to, it's like when J. Cole says, don't save her, she don't want to be saved. It's like you gotta find a beautiful girl, man, she works at a strip club, but she doesn't want to be saved, you know, so don't save her. Because she's only, you know, the more you try and like hold on and change it, and you know what I mean, it's only gonna end bad for you. So don't save her, invest her. I don't know. Yeah, but you just gotta invest it. But you know, in Japan, they got a pretty good saving culture over there. Like most Japanese people would prefer to save money than invest it. They got like a very strong saving culture there. Everything in their shops are with grams of gold displayed. Bro, in Venezuela, they buy everything with gold. Did you see that? No. Venezuela. Gold is not really good for butter trade in that sense. You know, it's not good for just buying small things here and there, isn't it? Like, it's a bit complicated. The value is shit, that's why. Yeah, I know, like, gold obviously is not great for that. But, I mean, that's crazy. There must be a lot of gold in Venezuela, like gold mines and people working in those, locals working in those areas. You know, there's some areas which I think are accessible even just to the local people, that they can go and do the gold excavation in the rivers, and you know, sometimes again getting lucky and stuff. Now imagine doing grocery shopping and buying stuff with gold. I'm from Venezuela, that's true. Man, maybe that's what like a country like Nigeria should do. Man, if you see like in Nigeria, if you go grocery shopping, it looks like you're robbing a bank basically to pay for your groceries. If you're taking cash. Gonna go there with a duffel bag. Is that why you got warships closing in? Needs sounds like Venezuela needs some democracy. You guys ever heard of democracy? Let the Americans show you the way. America. Yeah, I think that was it. That was the move over here. That's what I meant. Like also with yesterday, the move happened like a little bit sooner. So similar thing happened here today. It happened a bit sooner, but at least the pullback came in nicely. Got a nice pullback over here. Just gotta wait for some more structure, and maybe price can continue moving up bullish. It's only up 0.80%. This year we've been like, for the previous months, at least for the previous quarters, we've been seeing gold easily do like 2% on the daily. That's pulling down again heavy. When you're saying buying, please show the long indicator. Long indicator is right here, sir. Just says daily bias. See, he was still bullish. Or what are you talking about? This? Same in Pakistan. Man, if Rajda goes back to Pakistan, the guy's gonna live like president there. He lives in Dubai now, but you know, that's just for business purposes. But if that guy goes back to Pakistan, holy. Because in Dubai, everybody's kind of like, you know, they all kind of got the same things. Or you're gonna see most likely luxury cars and all of that stuff, but you're not gonna see that there. Thoughts on volume profile indicator as Confluence or Confluence? Yeah, you gotta use this Confluence. It's the best Confluence you can use. It's the best Confluence because remember, the market doesn't know anything about anybody. It doesn't know anything much about an FVG or necessarily accumulation breakout. For me, it just kind of moves. Over the years, I try and pull as many layers off the onion as I possibly can to see, like, you know, what's really happening here. So I'm just always stripping away everything that I know. Even if I get my entry model like this and it still plays out in a certain way, it's always like, can you just keep stripping away everything that you know or you think that you understand about it? Because for me, like, understanding the market had never helped me. From the beginning, trying to figure out the market. And it's the same for a lot of people. Trying to figure out the market never helps them. It only overcomplicates it for you. But you see, you gotta strip everything, what you think you know about the market, and then maybe you're gonna start seeing it in a different way. So for me, it moves. It moves. So if the daily bias is bullish, man, I want to be moving with the daily bias. You know, if it's like, if you're getting onshore, how do you say this? Yeah, if the waves are going offshore, then and you want to go out, you know, it's going to be easier for you to move offshore because the wind is coming like this. So you're going to go out with the waves. It's going to be easy to push you into the ocean if that's your goal. So you want to go with the direction. You want to go with the flow. You're not going to question why the ocean today is offshore or why it's inshore wind, right? You don't really question it. You don't question. It's either one or the other. And then you're going to use that to your ability to do what you want to do. You know what I mean? It's like when surfers go out to look for waves, they don't question why. They're just either gonna have waves or they're not gonna have waves. Because, you know, like, all that questioning, what does it help? Nothing. You can't do anything. If you can't surf, you can't surf. You just gotta wait. There's a huge difference between speculating and trading. You know, you could see the waves going out and you're sitting on the beach and you're wondering, man, why are the waves not coming in? I want the waves to come in, but you just see the waves going out. And you know, you're just sitting here like this and people are going into the water and you're just sitting here wondering, damn, why isn't the water coming this way? Why is it moving that way? And everyone's going, going. And then the day ends and everything flattens out at the end of the day. You know what I mean? flattens out at the end of the day like the market does. Then you sit there and you wonder, man, today I didn't get nothing. I didn't get what I wanted to get. So you got to look at that and say to yourself, if it's going this way, maybe next time you can join your buddies over here and see what they're doing. You know, why is everybody going this way? Maybe, you know, it's pretty fun as well. You can gonna make money going this way. You can make money going this way. So if the daily bias is offshore, that's bullish, then we're going offshore. If it's inshore, that's bearish, then we're going inshore. What's the next entry? Next entry I would say is still buy potentially. It's still up 0.70%. But yeah, it's like retracing here, you know. What are you looking for today? Are you gonna take trades? Yes. When you say and I think I read all the comments already. Yeah, as a crazy gambling addict, his health is really bad. Apparently he's making a comeback to YouTube soon. Hardest part is holding trades close for 40 on gold and you look 20 minutes later and it's up another 150. Man, I was watching a streamer yesterday trade NQ. How does NQ move? Like, are those 1 minute candles big? Let's actually have a look at NQ. Because NQ is doing okay. It's setting up here as a consolidation breakout. You see the bias is waiting, so it's kind of flat. It's flat out here. NQ is waiting, but it's on the verge of being bearish. How are the breakouts on NQ? Like, let's see. I think you gotta measure the pips here a bit differently. It's like 2 pips. Is that 2 pips or 21 pips? Probably 21, right? Hey, Real Ali, thank you for the 4 months. It felt like NQ moves slow. I was watching someone trade NQ yesterday, but it feels like it moves slow. It's like trading at GJ. Let me see what's going on here, because I think it's trying to break out. I feel like gold moves pretty fast. Like, this is a quick move. That move didn't even take long. See how it breaks above these highs. It's too quick. ES is better. Because I feel like our trades are pretty fast, guys. Like, honestly, I feel like we're usually in and out of trades so fast. Like, even though it moves significantly. Because, like, gold just moves fast. It's doing what gold did when we got that entry. It came right next to that zone like this. See, now it's creating a resistance. Well, you see the difference here, there's no direction. Daily bias is waiting. Yeah, NQ yesterday was very slow. What software platform do I recommend for backtesting? FX is the best platform that you're going to use for backtesting. Because you know, what else do you need? You can come over here onto my YouTube. And then you can watch NQ is about to break out. Then you can watch the simulations. You know, we do some free simulations every now and then. And this is a software that we use. It's called Soft4FX. So you have your market execution, everything over here, history of the trades, and market sessions. You can also check out the news and everything. We're going to do a simulation this weekend. I want to do a simulation this weekend though, in the exclusive. But yeah, this is what we use. Am I using a funded account? No. But Ricardo passed one here. What did you pass it on? Top Step. How do you know the bias is bearish or bullish or flat? Because the up there on NQ daily bias showing waiting. Yeah, it's waiting, but look, it's gonna flip right now. Watch it flip, watch it flip. You just need a little bit more of a push. You're gonna see it turn bearish soon. Because it is on the fringes of trending bearish. Look at the daily. Look at the way daily's coming. NQ has been kind of bearish, right? Pretty big dip over here. Strong push to the downside. I mean, overall, NQ is bullish. So it's not something that you would invest bearish against. You know, that would be dumb because price overall goes up. It's trading at $25,000, $25,600, $25,700. You know, NQ will go up predominantly. But the daily candle is moving down. You can see it here. It's currently bearish. So you're going to look at that and ignore everything else here and say, who's currently winning today? You know, like a sport. Like in sports, when you watch a game, do you thinking about the game that the players previously won? Not necessarily. You're looking at the game that they're winning right now. You know, so you got more sellers winning than you do have buyers winning. So if you took a sell today, you'd have a better chance of getting a running position. You know, look at these waterfalls over here. Here, here, here. It's still coming down. You gotta look at this line. But it's still waiting. You see, daily bias still waiting because it needs to come lower. Maybe even break through these lows and then respect this zone. Keep moving down, create new lower lows. But it was about to flip. Literally, like if it pushed, I think till here, daily bias would have flipped. But you see, it's like it's on the fringes. It's like on the fringes of trending. Because I've seen this happen before, you know. It needs to create structure and respect that structure to keep moving down. So that's what you're seeing over here. This is like the pool. It's like an invisible pool of when the dailies usually should start trending. Right here. You see with gold, pretty simple. It's been breaking structure. It's respecting like the breaks. You can see with the movement here and here. Break of structure, it's moving up. Break of structure, it's moving up. You see, there's not that much confusion like there is on NQ. Because this would be the start right here. It needs to break the structure and then keep moving down. Kind of like the trade we just took right now to show like more conviction as well. See, NQ is just doing what we did here. But the difference is there's no trend. You always gotta want to be with the trend as much as possible. Why don't I trade NQ? Because gold is sufficient. You just gotta focus on like 2 pairs maximum. Build a strong relationship with those 2 pairs. Not even 3. I think 3 will overcomplicate. Man, like there were times I was trading 3 pairs and having 3 different screens. And that is just going to confuse you. Because it's like you're afraid of... It feels like you need to catch a move. The mindset. It's like you feel like you gotta catch a move. So you're looking at gold, you're looking at GJ. Man, it's like a lot of stress. I remember the day like I just focused on one thing, like a little bit more of just one thing, and trading became a lot more stress-free. But yeah, in the beginning you're gonna look at like 2, maybe 3 pairs. Man, in the beginning I thought I needed to have like more monitors, so I had 1 monitor, and then I had another one here, and then I had 2 smaller ones like this. And I would just be looking at like so many charts, you know, because that's what we think that trading should be like when we first start. Like we want to overcomplicate it because that's what you see in like movies and stuff, you know. And like that's some people you're gonna learn from are also gonna be like that. Have like separate charts, talk to you about correlations and all of that. Man, look at this. How do you even trade these? Some of these options here are insane. Look at what the hell is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all like split up like it little lines like that. What the hell is that? Man, look at this. This is insane. It's like that guy in Wall Street, man. There's this one guy in Wall Street. Guy's room is just full of computers, full of monitors everywhere, just to lose money probably. I'm kidding. He probably knows what he's doing, but it just looks insane. And clearly he looks like a guy who will be stressed from trading. Let me see if I can pull it up. See, this guy, man, this guy is like, he's having a good time here. He's only got his 1 screen. This is the guy everyone goes to when they go to Wall Street. All the influencers, they go ahead and meet this guy. He's a pretty chill guy, you know. He's got his beer goggles on over there. Yeah, this dude. This is Patrick Wieland. Oh, wait, let me watch. Wow, that's got like 4 million views. Yeah, but it's this guy right here. Man, look at the amount of monitors that he has. Like, how do you even look at all this shit? This guy's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but it's got the news right there. Got them Bloomberg keyboards. This guy's on Discord. So Discord, look, he's on Discord here. Talking to his Reddit buddies. What should we do? What's looking good right now? Imagine losing money every you have full monitors. What? This is NASDAQ. It's all NASDAQ. Oh, this Apple, Nvidia. Yeah, all sort of different stocks. And that looks wild. That always look wild to me, like seeing the this things like fluctuate like that. Jeez, what the hell? Imagine all of this just to make like 10 pips. We just did like 30 pips. 39, 37 pips. How many pips are trying to catch here? Because like, how many pips do you really need? You know, at the end of the day, like making money from the market is not the easiest thing. So you're not always going to be like slaughtering the market every day. You know, you're going to make like 20 pips a day, 1% a day. I think it still is pretty nice. You know, you just make like 1% a day. Gold can give you 1% a day. Easily. Easy. Easy. Don't need to look at no watch list over here. Like, why would you need a watch list if you're just trying to catch 1% a day and you're a scalper, you know? Gold's already moved on the day. Let me tell you how much gold has moved. From this wick to this wick, we've moved 526 pips. And all you need is just a slice of that cake. That's all that you need. 20 pips looks good. I need to have a Red Bull drink and quick sniff at lunchtime for my brain to follow all that. Yeah, but I guess it's different like when you're trading people's money, right? Like when people invest into you and you have to invest into certain things like stocks, etc. It's a different ball game. But when you're trading for yourself, man, all you got to do is catch a small move like this and call it a day. I just upped my leg workout and boy, it's crazy. My nose, my forehead, chest, and throat are on fire. And nice to hear, man. Joshua's hitting the gym hard. It's good to hit the gym, you know. If you're gonna go to the gym and you have a good diet, you're already gonna look more fit than majority people. Like if you look at majority people like on a day-to-day life, there wouldn't be something you're gonna see and say, oh, that guy is buff necessarily, you know what I mean? So being fit and being healthy is like really setting a good example. I always think. Can you explain your trade? No, it's just a breakout. Accumulation breakout. We can talk about SMAs, we can talk about daily trends, but all that the market did here was all that it did during the pre-London, but pre-London one was a lot more sketchier and it actually faked out towards the lows after giving a decent push, but it was a fake out overall to move up bullish. So you could have maybe used that as a fake out Confluence to break these highs to get in, but that's just what the market did. It just moved from point A to point B and distributed up bullish. Just the same way as it did right here. But it didn't do the fake out to the lows. It just broke the highs and then continued moving up. And now it's setting up something similar again. You see, the market doesn't really move that far. It just pays you. This is literally how you see the market. Like it just pays you once. Boom. And then majority of the time, it's just doing this. That's all that it does, right? Consolidate. Majority of the time. And then all you're looking for is just that extension. That's all that we're trying to catch. You don't want to necessarily trade in here, although this range is a pretty decent range. From here to here is about 70 pips. You may be able to catch something within that range, but ideally you'd want to be anyway looking for that. The market is fractal, right? So that can even happen on a smaller scale. So on the 5-minute, this could happen like down here, and you'd still be catching that, but like only on a lower time frame. But it's easier to see it in this example. But that's what you're trying to essentially get, right? The range is big enough to give you that. I think it's like yesterday's trade. Let's go on yesterday's trade. Was it yesterday's or was it Monday's? No, I think it was Monday's. No, it wasn't yesterday's. See, like here the market was, this was on Tuesday. The market was ranging, but the range was big enough to get away with that distribution in the middle. That's 112 pips. Right? So you have resistance right above here. You got support right there. Go on the 1 minute time frame. You still got the distribution leg to the upside. There it was. So it happened because it's within the range. But that's kind of what you're trying to catch, correct? It's very nice because it came down. You got clean traffic on the left-hand side. Beautiful correction over there. But grand scheme of things, it was within a range because the market is fractal. But you see, that can sometimes confuse you. Because when you go on a lower time frame, you're going to see a lot more signals, right? You're going to see one here for sell. You're going to see one here for buy. You're going to see maybe even one here. So you just got to like pick and choose. Because, you know, this is like very clean. This is super clean. This is like the one we just took right now. So on the 1 minute on Tuesday, this is the one we just had here. Very clean, very nice. Different market condition as well, because we're extending, right? Price is moving up bullish. You can see it here. Tuesday example, price was flat, but it's still the same thing. So it's like very layered, you know, like I think trading is like a very layered process. So the better you get at that layering, then, you know, it starts to flow a bit smoother. Then you don't think as much. Your screen changed? Yes. But in the beginning, when you start layering a market, it gets confusing in the beginning, but it's going to be like tying your shoelace, right? At some point, you're like, man, I just understand it. And all I'm doing here is I'm talking about price action. You know, like I think if I was explaining something more complicated, like a fair value gap or inversion or turtle soup or something of the sort, man, I can't even watch an ICT stream or people who stream like ICT. Because I don't know those concepts. Like it just wouldn't register me. It wouldn't clock to me. It doesn't clock to me when they say those things. But I think like when I say these things, it can clock and resonate to a lot of you, right? Because it's just simple PA. It's just organic PA that I'm talking about. It's not clocking. Gold rises above $4,000 as investors assess US interest rate outlook. How's the layering process? How it's a layering process? Because it's fractal. Like this can be on the 5 minute, and then it can also be something here on the 1 minute. You understand? But like that same movement, it's like you're gonna zoom out like I'll just try and think of it like those Russian dolls. Just think of it like a Russian doll. It's the same thing. Like this. What do you call these things? Used to have these things. Matryoshka. Matryoshka. Yeah, it's just basically this. You see this little guy? Just the same as this guy here. This bigger one. So it's like layered like that. So you're not changing anything. You know, it's not like, oh, you know, it's a safer time frame. This big guy here, yeah, the safer time frame. It's not. This is a reflection of this little guy here. You know, so it's a huge misconception that it's more dangerous to trade this little guy. It's just because he moves a lot faster. That's all. Like he's gonna give you a lot more signals, a lot more candlesticks than this guy. But he still moves the same as this one does. It's just this one moves a lot more. So it's not like there's anything special that this time frame can do that this time frame can't do. If you get liquidity spiked on the lower time frame, you get liquidity spiked on the higher time frame. You know, the only difference, maybe your trade takes longer to lose or win. But it's all fractal. It's all the same. It's called babushka dolls. Yeah, these are babushka dolls. See them in your grandmother's house. Babulia. They're wearing the babushka. That's the babushka thing. This is the thing ASAP Rocky likes wearing too, right? Call it babushka. It's like a Russian hijab. Let's see. Gold, troy ounce. While the US dollar index rebound in private sector, hiring helped ease concerns about weakening US labor market, while separate data indicated continued growth in the service sector. So with the Fed's final 2025 meeting approaching and the US government shutdown delaying key data, traders face heightened uncertainty over the economic outlook and the path of further easing. And this is a thing that, man, is like really affecting gold right now. This whole uncertainty if we're going to get those rate cuts or not. So be very cautious with Goldie. I see it's still moving, but it does have these tendencies of having these really nasty ranges. These really nasty ranges like this wicks. How are you using fixed range volume profile and where do you place together POC? I don't. People literally see ICT as a god. I saw a podcast with a bunch of ICT traders just talking about how great he is. I'm pretty gay. Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's like I never saw that guy, which is insane. My first year of trading, I never saw ICT video. Or maybe I just didn't like it. It's kind of wild though, because everybody knows it now. But I think, you know, like God had different plans for me, because, you know, I don't like that idea of ICT. I've always liked the idea of just reading candlesticks. Even when people were talking like these smart money concepts, it was more based off like support resistance levels. Maybe they talked about the Asia session high, Asia session low, maybe weekly highs, weekly lows, but nothing too complex. When it came to the technicals. Maybe I'm just ignorant. I don't know. I see a bunch of Instagram videos of guys talking about ICT concept. Like, if you watch his TGR videos where he does like a whole breakdown in 1 minute, and he says like, he just says words and he breaks it from the higher time frame to the lower time frame. Like, I kind of get what he's doing, but like I feel like it's just doing too much. You guys seen that video where he does like the whole breakdown? Get the imbalance liquidation into, then you got to scale into the 1 minute time frame, wait for that push that creates that liquidity into the fair value gap, into the turtle soup, and then scale back into the 5 minute, wait, draw your new fair value gap, wait for the retracement to it, scale back down to the 1 minute, exit you could position. Like, I kind of get what's going on there, but man, it's just like some bullshit. All I did here was just wait for a breakout, and that's all that I do, and it works, you know. So I think like everything works in the market. Just got to see how you approach it, because you can take the same trade and have the same winning trade with a trend line, you know, but it's all a matter of like, how consistent are you, and does that make sense to you? He just uses SMC with different names. I could not comprehend the ICT stuff, and I've been trading for years. It's talking a ton of buzzwords and making claims. He can't trade the strat live though. Yeah, I think you just gotta find value where you can and just keep it moving really at the end of the day. Because you know what it is? In your journey as a trader, whatever you're gonna start with, you're always gonna take this along with you. So you're gonna learn support or resistance. Maybe you find out you can't just trade support or resistance as simply as you thought, you know? Higher time frame, lower time frame, support resistance, sell at the highs, buys at the lows. But at least now you know what support resistance is. Then you're going to learn something else, maybe a POC, point of control. You're going to experiment with that and say, okay, you know, we keep having some kind of a reaction here. And then, you know, you just keep doing that. And that's kind of building on top of this previous knowledge. Now, the only thing will be at some point, the learning has to stop because, you know, you can learn forever. You could fall into this loop of forever learning. Right? It's like also a loop of forever trying to be perfect, but perfection does not exist. So at some point you have to stop the learning. You've gathered enough knowledge. It's like reading books. Like how many books about manifestation can you read? You know what I mean? There's like 100, maybe 1,000 books out there about the same topic. You know, maybe they're going to say it slightly differently. How many of those are you going to read? You got to stop the learning at some point and start peeling off the layers and see which one works, which one doesn't work, which makes sense, where do they connect, where do they disconnect, and then you start building like your own system and understanding of it, of the topic. So it's a process, you know. And that's what I do over here, and that's what I'm still trying to do up until this day. Removing even the technicals from it and just understanding the market for what the market is. Just seeing the movements, just the pure movements, you know, like Bruce Lee says, the best fighter is a fighter who has no technique. Right? You don't want to have a technique. Tiger Woods hits that ball, that golf ball. He has his own technique, but it's like a no technique. It's just natural. So you gotta, you know, put water into a cup, it becomes the cup, right? That's the sort of mentality you want to have going forward. You watch these people who create really good things. They do it not necessarily off technique, but just like years and years of experience. So you see what I mean? Like with the market right now, it's not moving anywhere because we've already had our move. For me, that's what it is. It's just we had the move and now it's consolidating. It's waiting for the next move to set up here, and you can see it. You can see how it's slowed down. It's a different energy. Isn't it a different energy? Even if you feel like something like this, coming onto the stream with a London session opened, you're expecting a lot more energy to come out of that. Then now we're about 1 hour, 20 minutes into the London open. You see it's paused by 0.85%. So that's a technique you want to learn. The no technique. Be water, my friend. Exactly, Stefan. In the beginning, it's going to help you. And then later, not as much. What got you there is not going to get you to the next level. Gold reclaims $4,000 a level as dollar slips. US shot down woes. Vic said no technique, so I'm playing Mini Mini Mo with a buy and sell button. My motto for 25 has been strive for perfection, but to be content with greatness. Reach for the stars. Don't you believe in ICT? Yeah, I believe everything works. I could draw a random line here and we're going to have a reaction off of it. Like, but now it's like, can you just do that consistently? Can you draw that? Look, oh, look at this. Beautiful. Look at that. We got some sort of resistance over here. See how amazing that is? Everything works, right? Because it's like the market will show you a reflection of what you believe it is. But it's like, can you do that consistently, whatever that might be? I never hate on anybody. I'm not gonna say it doesn't work, because I know everything works, right? It's just like, can you actually teach that? Does it make sense to most people? Can you have conversation with people? Are you objective about it? Because see this? This is, it's now doing like, look at this. What is that? If you ask like a 6-year-old, what direction is this moving? What's a 6-year-old gonna tell you? Most likely he's just gonna tell you it's moving sideways. Correct? Same thing as if you ask a 6-year-old, same thing, same question that happened here. Oops. Come on, trading view, load. Load, please. Come on, trading view, what the hell is this? Yeah, it's just the same thing, but it's that Russian doll again. You see, that's a little guy. And that's that bigger guy up here. You know, the way that I teach sometimes, I do it intentionally not to make it super easy. Because I want you to see it without the tools. You know, if I give you all the tools, how are you going to master it, you know? I have to say it and you got to see it. You got to see it. I can't... I do it intentionally not to hold your hand as well as not to draw everything. DXY down. Gold. Let's do it. Let's have a look at that dollar index. Yeah, dollar index today is down 0.20, which is not that much. Looks like it's having some pullbacks here. It had like a really good run recently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullish candles in a row. Create like resistance. Now it's coming down to fill some of that range. So that's a good confluence. At least got negative correlation for gold to move up. Let's go look at our Chinese indicator here and see what that's saying. It's saying that dollar is weak, which means gold should go up. Perfect. Now we can ask Zoli. Gold is consolidating right now. Will it have its major move up or will it break downwards? It's gonna be a big breakout on Goldie. It hasn't yet happened, but it's accumulating orders right now for it. Oh, we got the short. Man, scary looking card over here. Yet the Knight of Currencies gallops forth, heralding a significant rise, major upward movement beacons to the horizon. I thought I got the I thought I opened this one though. Wait, let's see. The YOLO whispers of bold faith and the inevitability of a surge, while the short suggests a caution and the allure of contrarian moves. Yet the Knight of Currencies gallops forth. Maybe I did open that one. So it says it's gonna move upwards. Should break up bullish. Let's see. Right now, this is all like, you know, 50-50 here. You got a support and you have resistance. My target is, your target is $4,000. And if we break down, we could see $4,000 will be a magnet. At that point, it's like 98 pips. But if we break bullish, we got that 4-hour resistance all the way up over here. You see major resistance area. And we would be potentially heading on the daily towards 40.50 will be nice to see. 40.50. Volume hasn't been that crazy of late, so if we're being a bit more conservative, we can say anywhere between like 40.30 to 40.40. Say like 30, 40.30, which is, you know, hopefully just about enough to close above this resistance. So we can get the next daily candlestick open up like this and then continue to move up from Friday. Might get like a really big push on Friday actually to correct some of this move since that weekly is still fresh. So yeah, that could be mopped up quite easily. Could be nice. Got NFP tomorrow. Don't know if we're actually gonna have it though. Hello Tetra, it's been a while. What's up, Volkslane? Pump it up, pump it up. So think about it. Think about it this way. Does the spoon bend or do you bend? Have you ever seen that scene from The Matrix where he makes the spoon bend? But you just change it through your perception, right? That's why Neo goes like this. As a spoon bends, he goes like this. He looks at the spoon. He's like, damn, how's this guy making the spoon bend? So it's just your perception. There is no spoon. There is no entry model. You gotta overcome your limitations. That's what trading is. That's the end goal, correct? The spoon bends because he's manipulating the code. There's no spoon, man. There's no spoon. I think the market knows the difference between a FVG entry, support, resistance. You might get your reactions, sure, but in the grand scheme, if you truly think about it as objective as possible, there is no FVG. You know, there is no support or resistance. Think about it objectively, like super objectively. A lot of retail traders find this very difficult to comprehend because you're gonna see your reactions. You say, how could that be the case? You know, you got support over here. You got your John Wick entries. Don't forget, there are times where, man, there's a fucking car alarm outside. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's so loud. But there are times when a candle will just go through a level like it didn't exist. You know, there are times where we break through resistance points like they never existed. You can hear it? Yeah, it's super annoying. But sure, in the beginning, you definitely need to have those training wheels. Do you think we really need a period of isolation to succeed in this shit? Yes. Well, I think so. I think, you know, a lot of people, when they try and achieve a greatness, there's a huge isolation which comes with that naturally. You know, because you gotta have time to like think. You gotta have your space to think, your space to grow, and you know, life can be full of distractions sometimes. So if you can give yourself that isolation, it's the best thing. It's lonely at the top. That's what they say. Fun fact, I never watched The Matrix. Hold on 1 second. freaking car, man. Man, you gotta watch The Matrix. Yeah, we hear it sounds like a fucking drunk harmonica. It's all perceived value in real time, in real terms, but in our simulation reality, we're all code. Yeah, it's all binary, you know. If you think about it this way, people say that world is not black and white, right? It's not as binary as ones and zeros. But if you go deep down enough, it is binary. Every choice that you make, it comes down to a 1 or a 0. There's no gray area in life, you know. Sometimes it feels like there's a gray area in the middle. But there's no gray area. If you keep going down enough, there has been choices which have been made. So life is binary, you know. It's very simple. You make choices and you don't look back. You can't have one foot in one place and one foot in another place. You know, that's why when people strive for greatness, it comes with sacrifice. You can't have both best of both worlds necessarily. So become a trader is a very lonely game because there's a huge sacrifice to be made. You know, a sacrifice of time, a sacrifice of pleasures, a sacrifice of yourself. Because a lot of the time you're gonna have to get rid of certain aspects of yourself that you do like, but is not giving you the results that you need to get. You know, it makes you more stoic. It makes you less emotional about certain things. And you will change as a person as you start gradually learning the process of disassociating yourself with what you think making money is like. Because I think you're going to see like making money is different from what you thought it would be like when you didn't have money from when you do have money. You know, it's very binary. Every day you wake up and you do the same thing that you need to do even if you don't want to do it. Right? It's really that simple. And the beautiful thing is anybody can do that. They just have to make the right choice. You take the red pill, the blue pill. See, right now market's not going anywhere, so we can just, you know, talk about random stuff like this. So I think it's pretty good. Market's just setting up. It's also listening here. we're all in this together. The market's also sitting here and it's like, damn, this guy is onto me. Can we make a buy entry? No, you can't. Because you gotta take a losing trade here. Setting it up to go down. Yeah, I mean, like, whatever direction, this thing is gonna seriously get a good move. You got clean range. At least with the move downward, you have like a little bit of clean range towards support here. It's about like 31 pips. With the move up, you don't have a range. You see, like, we're just kind of buying into darkness here as we're approaching that 4-hour resistance, because it's a higher time frame target, so we don't see it. Because, you know, we're like an ant. We're like in a lower dimension right now, so we don't see the higher dimension unless we, you know, we go up a dimension like this. Now we can see, oh, okay, so I got a different angle here. So you see that 4-hour. So it's been kind of like the magnet for the day as we're approaching that 4-hour resistance. But man, this is a place that's a daily as well. So you go up a dimension, boom. Now you can see a bit better. You got that daily resistance. This is the main thing that we're trying to break. Okay, we're trying to break this so we can keep moving up bullish. You go up a dimension. You also got your weekly candle. See, weekly candle, still low candlestick body volume over here. Still has plenty of room. Plenty of room to keep going up over there. Keep going up a dimension, and you know, that's when now we're starting to get into the higher levels. There's a quarterly time frame, and the quarterly has different ideas in mind than just those smaller daily 4-hour zones. Quarterly is thinking more of like, how are we gonna end this quarter, correct? So that's a whole lot of volume. It could chill here all that at once, and then only start moving up towards the end of the quarter too. Just like we see on the lower time frames, chat. Remember, like, sometimes we see those candles right before it closes, it can reflip like this. Same thing can happen on the quarterly too. So it has its own quarterly targets. maybe it's $4,000. Maybe the goal here is to respect $4,000. And whatever the case is, we just want to stay above $4,000. So the next quarter has a more exuberance to keep pushing up bullish. That $4,000 mark has been very, very important in this market. And you're still going to see tabloids speaking about it. You see like 16 minutes ago, gold reclaims $4,000 an ounce level. Like this is the most important zone that we're currently sitting at right now. That's why, man, if we break below these lows without accumulation, this could be like a magnet again for price. First that support on the 5-minute, then the psychological mark over there. Because it's all a battle between buyers and sellers, yeah? At the end of the day, the sellers want to take 4,000 just as much as the buyers do. But right now, we are definitely above 4K and by quite a bit, actually. Look from here to here. It's like 100 pips, 100 plus pips. Hello from Pakistan. Hey, welcome, welcome. Are you in the Grand Cup? No. Don't have time for that. Bro, my trade locker just disconnected. Computers run on ones and zeros but the universe, that's heading towards singularity. One point where all complexity compresses into one unified truth. Yeah, we're never gonna know what that singularity is inside that singularity. That's where Einstein says time does not exist in the singularity, so we don't know what happens in there. Time does not exist the more closer you get into a black hole. It starts wrapping time and distorting it. And then they say the singularity, actually Einstein says singularity is a point in time where time ceases to exist. It no longer exists at that point. So you see, there's a lot of things that even as humans, when we try to figure out the external world, is you're gonna have to change the way you logically think about things. You can't always put logic to something. That's a deep conversation, honestly. Like, if you ever watch these videos, these reels about people who commenting on really complex topics like that, it have some seriously mind-bending perspectives. Now look at price coming down over here. Finally starting to get a little bit, man, that's actually volatile. Holy. Look at this, just dumped like 17 pips. I thought that was a move. Thought that was going to be the beginning of the break below. We need a break below like 4,009 over here. So you see a bit more of a correction. Come on, Goldie. Let's move. I think what he was trying to do was trying to break out of this little mini one right here. So it had like a quick little distribution from this point. That was about a 10 pips. And then it came back into the range. Maybe potential liquidity grab. We'll just monitor this, see what happens from this point. If it re-breaks the highs and then moves up. Because you see, essentially, if it does that, that will be what happened during the pre-London session time. You know, this little pattern over here. From here, and then that little grab. That would be essentially what the pre-London session did right here. Before we start actually having the rally for the day. So those changes in variables like super important, you know, especially if you're just looking for buy still, because the daily bias is still bullish. Then you have something like that happen, I think is always quite interesting. Do you think it's a buy or sell? I think you're in a range. Like seriously, you're just moving sideways from here to here. So you could get away with a buy, expecting price to continue moving up if it breaks these highs. And then use that as a liquidity grab Confluence. Over here, and maybe you can have this as a point A. That's going to be the first inception. And then maybe you're going to have that external leg form from this area over here to distribute slightly upwards. Same thing as we explained that happened on Tuesday, right here. But this didn't have so much of that liquidity grab thing. But on Tuesday, it was also the same thing. Price was stuck within this range. Like this, boom, boom, bottom of the range, entry confirmation to move up over there. Not the cleanest one today, but more or less the same idea, correct? Because the market's never always going to be like picture perfect. But you can wait for picture perfect scenarios. But obviously, it just means you're going to miss out on a lot more entries. It's no more volume. We wait for FOMC talks today. Member Waller speaks. Member Waller speaks later on. Gold firms on softer dollar. Yeah, I think it's like a lunchtime here. Gold's gone for lunch now. If it waits for if it breaks, you wait for pullback to go in. No, like the thing is, I'll just take it on the break as soon as it breaks. See, but let's see, because it's still like pulled up. It still hasn't broken these highs. Might be gearing for a move downwards. Gotta wait. Gotta wait. Volume is so dead. Can I ask, I just came out of those boxes above support and resistance. Why so big? That's because on the higher time frame, that's like your... This is just like the resistance, and that's the support. And price is moving sideways here. See if it creates that support on the 1 minute. Man, that would actually look proper clean. Get like a little support there form, and then have that little wick. Then start getting some candlesticks. Move up like this, and then break those highs to move up again. Because now essentially what you're doing is you're trading the range. You're being a John Wick. The range here is worth about, let's take it again. Let's see, I forgot. 60, 70 pips. Does it break the highs or does it continue to move down? Because it could have been a short squeeze as well. Because if you took a trade over here, let's say if you took a sell, sometimes the market's gonna obviously like play with your psychology, right? It'll try and short squeeze you. But look at this, it didn't even break that little mini resistance right there. See how close it came? It didn't even break that mini resistance. So there's like minefields. Like if you go into the details in trading, you're gonna see like these little minefields over here. You know, very detail oriented. As scalpers, man, we like see all the detail. Like people who trade the higher time frames, they don't see this detail. The detail doesn't matter as much for them, but you know, we get really nitty gritty about our analysis. That's why I think being a scalper, that helps you learn about trading a lot faster. Holy, look at that spike. It helps you learn trading a lot faster because, you know, you get more iterations of certain price action throughout a whole day. And you see these little things like, look at this. Even though it pulled all the way up, still didn't break that resistance. And then to come back down like this. Man, you know what that does to people? Because sometimes the spread can get you out. Yeah, let's say you got like a 2 pip spread. Or whatever. You get taken out by spread. Look at that. Then you look at it and you see, oh damn, but we still respected that zone. What the hell is this? You see price go in your direction, then you're like, fuck. Now you take another trade. You feel bad. But you see now you've lost the first trade. So now you're down. You're getting like paper cuts. Where you shouldn't be getting these paper cuts because you got to make that back. But it's all like market psychology. That's why, if something happens to you that you can control, you got to control that outcome because it's gonna happen again. That's the thing about the market. It was gonna happen again and again and again and again until you learn to see how can you maybe next time lose less or still be part of the move. So every time, don't take it for granted that maybe you're getting stopped out. You gotta look at the trade and see how could you have maybe done something differently. Lower time frame, you secure what market gives. is giving at that time. Yeah, I'm a big fan of securing something. I'm a huge fan of securing profits. See this over here? You got like a 31 pip range. You don't gotta get all the range, because you know sometimes like candlesticks, they're not gonna fill the whole range. They're gonna like maybe fill 65% of the range and then start to reject the range. So I'm a really big fan of securing something as price moves in my direction. Hi bro. Hey, what's up, Chris? Chris with the K. So technically, if you enter a black hole at the right time, you'll be forever a profitable trader. Or you'll be forever in a profitable trade. Yeah, imagine like if the market shuts down, yeah? If the market shuts down, in principle, you will forever be in a profitable trade because time will cease to exist. You know, it's like a black hole here. This will just stop. That time, everything just stops like it's a weekend. Or you'll be forever in like doom, in drawdown. You're going to be in heaven or you're going to be in hell. Massive drawdown, stop loss is about to hit for all time. And you never know. You just never know whether it's going to hit or whether you're going to survive it. Do I trade on props? Nah. They're like, props are so difficult. They're designed to make it difficult. So, you know, why would you spend all your trading time on a prop firm when you could trade a real account? Unless, you know, you just gotta like save up enough and that's it. Just trade your real account. Because trading is, you want to feel as in control as possible. So with a prop firm, it's amazing to get capital, but it's not the same level as control. Yo, Vix, thoughts on adding into a position and scaling out? Yeah, we talk about that in the simulations. We've spoken about this before. I think it's an amazing way to really double down on a winning trade, because you know the last thing you want to do is double down on a losing trade. So we teach you like how to double down on winning trades, because some people like the whole idea behind like, you know, martingaling and that, but when you martingale, you're only increasing your losses. So you always got to find ways, how can you reduce or take risk off of your trade? You know, risk should always come first. So yeah, if you're going to scale into a trade, you're always going to do it in a way that even the first position, you can reduce risk. You know, so when you scale in, you're maximizing your profits and maybe even keeping the risk the same. You can keep the risk the same, or you can just reduce it. But your upside is going to be a lot more than your downside. That's how you got to scale in. How much equity would you recommend trading with your own account? I think like, you know, $5,000 is pretty nice stuff for a lot of people who want to take it seriously. Of course, you can always scale up a $1,000 account towards like that goal. But if you know, if you just find yourself some kind of consistency and you feel good about it, then I think 5K would be like the perfect beginner middle ground. But I think a lot of us, you know, a lot of us, we start with like $200, $500, and then you just like gradually compound that amount. But it does look like gold is trying to actually break the lows. You see, chat, like it's not moved anywhere. We're not in distribution yet. I reckon it's coming through that support, the support area right here. So that's what you would want to see, especially if you're already in a trade. It's created like some kind of head and shoulders here. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. It's a bit lethargic, but it's coming down. Slowly but surely. It just needs to get through that support. It's so choppy though, you know? Like, look at how choppy this is. This is like minefield. You gotta walk through a field and you see this as a whole minefield here. So the best thing to do is just not to trade it. Look at the wicks. Look at the way the wicks are behaving. Like, that just does not look appetizing, right? I think the wicks are the most dangerous thing when it comes to trading. It's the thing that usually stops you out, or it's the thing that really stands out the most. These volatility, these spikes. But you know, you can't do anything about it because sometimes it's not a wick and price keeps going that direction. All right, so holy, see where the sellers are coming in here.
Why are you running?
Man, just dipped into some sell orders there. Look at those bloody wicks though. Man, I tell you, those wicks are the worst. You see candlestick closes, whatever. Most of the time the candle's gonna close where it wants to close, but those wicks really mess you up psychologically there. You can see them here. Look at these extensions. You got one here, and then one here. Very nasty price action. This is not what you want to see. Look, when we got into our trade over here, price was acting so differently to what it's acting right now. You know what I mean? Like, it was more like calm. It was more calm, and you know, we just got like a decent sort of like movement over here. But look at this. It's a whole different story. This is doing pre-London vibes now a bit more. What's happening? A lot of like fluctuation. But you see, I think you're gonna see the wicks more on the higher time frame with that pre-London one though. This one you can see it more on the 1 minute. It's a very subtle thing. It's very nuanced. But it's finally broke below support over here, so it is showing a signal for weakness. Just see this thing completely melt. See what happens there. Maybe it does a pre-London fakie. It's just basically this. Showed weakness, weakness, weakness. Faked out and then just skyrocketed up bullish. Not the greatest conditions. But definitely people are in this sell though. People have been triggered. You saw the way it dipped? What do I think the market's going to do today? I am expecting it to keep moving up because we're moving up bullish. Might have a few retracements here, but I expect that the day to end as obviously as a bullish candle. As we approach that 4-hour resistance, keep moving up maybe for Friday. So much valuable content in your sessions, especially how you interpret the market and psychology about trader mindset. Really helpful. Thank you, Vic. Thank you, Jane, for that humbling comment. Hey bro, I've just found your stream. I've also just started trading. Started with 200, then went out to 1,400 and took profit. Now on 500. Oh, nice. Well done. Very nice, very nice. Especially because, you know, you just started the month over here. Started the month and yeah, it's still like fresh in the month. You know, we already got some people past funded challenge. Ricardo passes funded. People already flipping accounts, which is insane because the market conditions are not easy. For the first week of November. How many trades were taken? About 5. 5 trades this week so far. Maybe we can do 7. 6 to 7. Basically like a trade a day for this week. And here I am with a $30 account. Yeah, it's quite little, man. You gotta have some skin in the game. I'm glad you agree. I hear so many people talk about prop firm or funded account. I'm not interested as why to take the risk that might not pay you. Yeah, I mean, if you need to compound your account, it's a good way to go. But if you already have the money from, let's say, your 9 to 5 or you got a side hustle, then really, if you sell at $1,000, scale it to like 5K and above, it's much easier to get to $10,000. You know, and at that point, I think it starts getting quite interesting. At the end of the day, it'll come back to the skill. Anyone can take everything away from you today, but you're going to be left with your skill. If you go completely broke today, you're still left with your skill. Nobody can take that away from you. That's a beautiful thing about learning skills. So you always got to do something for yourself, you know? Because if you lose your job, you know, and maybe you don't have such a good skill in that job, then it's like you're easy to be replaced. But if you're the best in the industry or what you do, whatever it is, even in the real world, working a 9 to 5 and you're the best at what you do, and it shows some value what you do, then losing your job to that company is taking an L. You know, if they let you go, they know they're taking the L. Even if they don't like you, they'll be like, damn, I can't believe we lost that guy. You know? So the skill is something that no one can take away the skill from you. So you always got to work on executing at the best ability that you can. I have $30 account. How do I grow that? You got to seek knowledge, education. You got to invest in education. Because you could either try and grow the $30 or you're going to use the $30 more productively. You know, you got to invest and take steps. It's harder to grow $30 than it is to get the right knowledge that you need. That's maybe worth $30, but at least you're getting something from it. Or you're going to compound the 30 into something that gives you a bit more value in the long term. I think this is where your journey for risk management like truly begins. You know, because like for me, I had saved up like an extra $300. And I was like, okay, so, you know, I can put this into my account and try flip this $300. That's when my journey of risk management truly started. So I could do that, or I've been following this guy for a while. Maybe let me join his community and see what this is all about. You know, so now you're gauging like which makes the most risk and return on investment. Is it going to be the knowledge, or is it going to be maybe that you might flip that $300 and, you know, you can have a good time? But it's also carrying with that a lot of risk, especially if it took you a while to save it. See, life again all comes down to choices, ones and zeros. You can use this choice or you can use this choice. And behind each choice lies a door. Lies a door and a lesson that you're going to learn, you know. Behind this door, let's say if this is the risk 300. Oh, wow, look, nice, finally moving here. Looking to fill that range. That pullback was a psychological trick, you know. It's trying to scare people out of that move. But man, look at it go. Oh, the range is getting filled. But those pullbacks, chat, like that's what we try and avoid as much as possible. You see, like with our entry right here, we didn't get no pullbacks. So we try and eliminate as much pullbacks as possible. And that all comes down to timing. You know, you got to see the setup, how clean it is, what time are you executing, reduce the probability, what the market condition is as well. Because if it already starts choppy, there's a higher chance you get a pullback. But if it's not as choppy, there's a lower chance you get a pullback. So very small nuanced things like that actually make a difference to how the trade's going to play out. Yeah, but finally, like that was a range, actually dropped, filled up the range. Filled up a good amount of the range. But yeah, behind this door, this is I'm a risk at $300. Maybe you blow that account, that's your lesson right there. You know, then you're going to be like, hopefully you learn the lesson. Some people don't learn the lesson. You know, if you take the other route, what you get is more upside. You get knowledge. You get insight. How is this thing set up? What do they do? How do they do it? Etc. You get more insight. There's more W's. There's more W's to take with investing in your education than there is to trying to flip an account when you're not profitable. There's a lot more downside. It's a huge gamble. It's 50-50. You can flip it, yes, and then use the extra surplus to invest in your education. Then it's like a win-win. but you're gonna take a really big risk there. I actually had a student who did that. He flipped, I think, $500 into, how much was it? It was something crazy. I think it was like $2,000 or something like that. And then he knew that some of that was just all luck, so it was a win-win for him. Are you gonna get a trade? Man, look at this thing. Almost to my target. That really smelled like a trade you would take also. This breakout here. Yeah, I mean, I already had a trade. How many trades are gonna take? I already had my buy. I already had my slice of the cake. If I didn't have my slice of the cake, then, you know, maybe I would have looked for something else here. But I'll be looking still more for buys, because my daily bias is still bullish. See, I got my, where's my pie? I got my humble pie over here. I'm just gonna sit in the corner somewhere and then just like eat my pie. You know, I'm gonna eat my pie and watch the other rabbits. I'll watch the other people trying to get their piece of the pie, you know? Because I already got a pie. My plate is full. For now, at least. Until maybe later on, then we're gonna get another pie. You know what the chat reminds me of? Let me show you what the chat reminds me of. This is like some of y'all. Some of y'all are like this, man. You go to a buffet, and in the buffet, you're like, what the fuck is that scene? Oh yeah. That's how some of you guys are like. The market gives you something small, and you're complaining. Give me that 50 extra pips, 100 pips. Some of all, you gotta chill, man. Like, just enjoy a small little piece. Enjoy a small little piece. Take it to the table. Enjoy it. V-shape reversal incoming. Yeah, this range is done. This range is done. There's nothing left here. This is like now Ice Cube kicking over that plant because he's already done everything here. So that's all that's left. 5 pips. That boy is starving. If you're going for 5 pips, as Denzel Washington says, that boy is starving. Yeah, it's a really bad copy of that. Let me get some of them green beans. Don't you like green beans? Green pips? What is the definition of a shotgun and consolidation trade, and what does a bomber clap mean? Shotgun is just a candle closed above a key level of resistance on the 5-minute time frame, and then the next candlestick opening up to re-break the previous candlestick highs, like what you had happen over here. That's like a shotgun. So think of like bullet in the barrel and then boom. That's a shotgun. Consolidation is self-explanatory. And Bumbleclot is a move that just moves like this, like straight into profit, you know?
Bumbleclot.
That's a Bumbleclot. So much room to the downside. Yeah, if it keeps pushing down, remember $4,000 psychological mark. Just gotta get through. Just gotta get through the support first, and then 4K is sack mark over here. Remember, does the spoon exist? Spoon doesn't exist. You see the support. Does it exist to the market? Maybe market has other targets in mind. One thing I learned is, man, when market has its eyes set on something, it's gonna get to that level. So if it's like $4,000, it's gonna get to $4,000. If you can trade this, you can make dollars on prop. Yeah, provided that they pay you. Calling it a day. Well done. Thanks, Vic. See you tomorrow. See you, Luke. Maybe we're gonna keep swimming down to like $4,000 now. What's the difference between prop? Okay. Will it react to FVG on 15-minute? For me personally, I think I would not have caught this move. I would not have caught this move. To being like very honest with you, I would not have caught this move. But I would see it and I would understand why it played out, but I would not have taken that sell because I was looking for a buy. So it's all about like just waiting for your trade. You know, you're not meant to take every trade on the market. You only take the ones which make sense to you, the ones which come to you, which make sense. But this is like forcing issues, you know? I see the trade, I see the setup, but it's forcing issues. Me in year one, knowing what I knew now, but in terms of execution, I would have probably tried to get this trade and be like Ice Cube, putting all the food on my plate. I'll probably do that. You know, approach it more aggressively. But, you know, I'm a lot more patient now. I'm a lot more disciplined now. A lot more mature in the market, so I can wait. If I don't like the trade, I can let it go. And I think the easiest way to explain this patience is if you got a strategy which will give you, let's say, 2 setups per hourly candlestick. If you knew that, wouldn't that make you more patient? If you knew every hour can give you at least 2 setups, you know, you're going to be patient. You're going to wait for your 2 setups. And you get to like pick and choose. But you know, when you don't know this, it makes it hard. Because what a lot of traders have a challenge with is not getting the entry. And then they start feeling like they don't know what they're doing. Here comes the V-shaped reversal. But yeah, because you're not going to get your entry. You might, you know, sometimes you're going to go like 2 days, 3 days without entry. And you're going to feel like you don't know what you're doing. Because you don't truly understand the way your system operates. So it's a scarcity mindset. If you see something like this happen, you start getting worried like, oh man, I think I actually missed a move. Some UK prof ban orb strategy reasons being it's gambling. Are you going to take any trade, give any setups, or are we just here for a therapy session where you just talk 1 minute time frame? Yeah, it's a therapy session, man. So some of you need the therapy session. You need a rehab because, you know, you're taking too many trades. How much leverage do I use? 1 to 200. My biggest problem is my psychology. Is there any books or sources you recommend to improve? Joining onto this stream because, you know, we do a therapy session here, as this guy said. But, you know, we're going to take a trade, and I already took a trade, so why should I take another trade for who? You want entertainment. You want gambling. I understand the interest of that. I too understand this. It's interesting for me to watch somebody actually be in a trade 24/7. But, you know, at the end of the day, when you go to bed at night, you're going to be happy you were disciplined. You're going to be happy, man, I took that one trade. It was a winning trade, and I followed my rules, and I didn't let nobody affect my frequency. Because a lot of the time, you're going to have people trying to affect your frequency, you know? They're going to try and change the way that you operate. And you got to be very careful when it comes to that. Because some people are going to force you to take more trades. Because you're going to follow them on Instagram and you see they're always in a trade. Then you say, oh, damn, I also need to be in a trade. So you go on trading view, you break your rules, you take your trade, you take a loss. But at least you feel good that you took the trade, right? You felt like you're not missing out. So you got to be very careful about what you're letting into your own world in terms of frequency. So are you doing it because it's part of your rules? Or are you doing it because you feel like you're missing out? Because you know, as traders, you're going to face challenges when it comes to not feeling good enough, you know? So at some point, you gotta like stay on your lane, because that feeling is going to honestly destroy your account. Might make a t-shirt that has a F the spoon on it. Oh, that would be sick. So cheap here to get custom tees. F the spoon. Oh, sick. You got the matrix spoon bend as maybe an image there. F the spoon, then it's like the spoon bending. Yeah, man. It's a new hourly candlestick. Remember, 2 setups. At least maybe 1 to 2 setups per hourly candle. So you're about 18 minutes in. Oh, I think it had one. This was the one that broke, huh? This was the one that broke to the downside. It still has time for definitely at least one more setup. See, stress-free trading. Couldn't catch this move? No problem. What do I think about... Oh, I think not much about that person. Because, you know, like, what does it matter? What you think? If people see the spoon, then the spoon is real. So if traders see 4,000 as a key level, effect of the observer. Are you seeing that 2-slit experiment that scientists do with the particles? It's like the way they behave when it hits the wall, the particles, it behaves differently when somebody is actually watching them. It's like, I think it's waves. It's like they shine like a light through 2 slits. Let's say like this, they shine a light, and as a light goes through it and there's nobody looking, it hits the back of the wall in terms of waves. But when you got an observer in the room and he's looking at it, it's going to hit the wall in terms of particles. I think that's what it was. Pretty sick. Quantum reality is crazy. Yeah. It's the building blocks to achieving a lot of things in life. Human psychology is quite impeccable. Like if you think about children as well, you know, there's a certain age that we get to when we're growing up that we realize that things could exist at a different space and time, and it doesn't have to exist only when you're looking at it. And it's like for children, when you're doing like peekaboo, I think I was reading this somewhere, when you do like peekaboo, it's like, and then they laugh and they have reactions and stuff like that. They're having that also, they're getting like into a maturity level to understand that the mother can be in a different room even though he can't see or she can't see, or the dad or whatever, right? Because sometimes we're going to think of like a tree falling down in the Amazon, but just because you don't see it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. But I think like when you start digging into like psychology, and for some of you who study psychology in university, there's a lot to unpack when it comes to also like putting that into practical use in your day-to-day life and just understanding how things operate. So if you're going to start your day, why not start your day feeling amazing? Why not start your day feeling like a champion? Because you can't win with a losing mindset. You already have to be a winner, and you see the power that you have to actually shift the way your day goes. You can take a losing trade and you can revenge trade. You can like compound that loss. So you can take a losing trade and you can gradually make that back by controlling your emotions. And that's what I do. Like for example, today, right? Today, look at this. I'm still down on the day because I took one trade today. So I could still approach this in a negative way and really try and make my loss back, or I can just do what I've been doing, which is practice self-control. And even if it's a losing streak, not to revenge trade, just to take it slowly. And if it goes above, let's say, a certain risk amount for the day, then I just call it a day. And then I'm going to come back tomorrow. And at this point, I'm using time to my advantage, and I'm protecting the number one capital, which I should be protecting, which is my psychology. That's the number one thing that you have to protect, is your psychology. So don't worry about ending a day in a loss. You know, we got to protect that psychology. So for the day here, I'm down 1.72% still. And if I see another setup and it looks good, I'll take it. But at the same time, I'm not going to chase anything. You know, you have to keep... you have to keep control. So if I see something really good, something like what we had for London session, it could be worth a shot. Because I know at that point, if it's a winning or losing trade, I know it's a good trade. But you see something like this, where some of you think like, oh, maybe I should have called a signal here. This is not a trade I would be happy to take a loss on. You know, as it broke below these lows inside, like chopping up and pulling down like this. This is garbage. Yes, it moved. But how did it move is the question. You know, that's more important as well. Like, how did it move? How was it approaching those levels? Was it a trade you're comfortable taking a loss on? These are questions you got to ask yourself before anything else, because when you see a move go like this, you don't feel any FOMO when it happens. Just wait. And hey, it's still coming down here. Look at this. It's still heading down towards potentially $4,000 mark over there. Could have even created like a little continuation, which is a bit more cleaner. A little bit more zero drawdown for you. So in order to feel good again, trader would want to win more, and that's how most traders F up. Yeah, it's because like a loss just feels worse than any win feels good, you know? Winning a trade doesn't feel as good as taking a loss feels bad. Losing is always a lot more powerful. And it's a thing that drives a lot of people. If you see a man who gets their heart broken by a woman, and that anger, how it drives them to maybe go to the gym and, you know, start a business and do other things, you know, that anger like fuel. It's like pure fuel. It's more stronger than a win feels good. Because wins are just wins, you know, but when you lose, you kind of like want to prove something again. Sometimes you got to give it back to take it back again. You know, that's what Drake says. Sometimes you got to lose so you can feel that hunger again. I don't want to be a 2 on top like Kanye West says, because I might be out of touch. You know, it's all in the lyrics. It's all in the science. It's all in these things that people say. You just got to look into it. Because sometimes it happens to me too. Sometimes I can be like on a huge win streak and I take a loss because I want to take that loss. I'm like, damn, man, this does not feel natural. I'm losing my hunger. So sometimes you feel like I need this loss so it can keep me motivated. You know, they say the best time to kill a crocodile is when it's after it's been fed. Because after it's been fed, it's not going to fight back anymore. Can't forget it. Number 1, capital psychology. And I'm sure you all have experienced this as well. You've experienced a win streak one time, and you maybe had like, you know, a pretty good win streak, maybe a 3 trades in, 4 trades in, feels good, but you kind of miss the struggle. So you kind of feel like subconsciously you're going to risk that maybe 5th trade. You know, if it works out, perfect, awesome. But if it doesn't work out, you kind of wanted that loss. Low key. You need that retracement, just like the market does. You know, the market can't move up forever. After it moves up, it also needs to take a loss. And then it moves up greater heights, creates greater heights, takes that small little loss. That pullback creates a greater height, pullback, greater height. Good and bad, yin and yang. What is the biggest RR you have gotten in your career of trading? Man, that's a pretty good question. The last time I was chasing RRs was like 2021. And it would not be unusual to secure like a 1 to 5, for example. Because my trades run, man. They run. Like even the trade that we took today, how much RR is that? You know, if I usually like 16 pip stop losses sometimes. If you were a 16 pip stop on this, 1 to 4.5. You know, but it's definitely not unusual to have these trades run. Like if you look at this data over here, as I always show you, you're going to see like these running trades, they really run. And it's all a matter of like, what are you trying to achieve? Do you need the runner? Are you trying to do something specific? Understand? Like, man, like this year on gold, insane year. Insane year. I didn't leave runners this year, but what I did was I took a lot more trades. And I secured something, you know, like look at this, 39 trades, 34%. We have September over here. I took around, you know, like about 48 trades, 35%. My best month was, I think was in, when was it? Yeah, it was in July. And it was the summer month also. I took about 50 trades, 51 trades, you know, and then I left some runners in here too to pick it up. So after the losing trades, I would also sometimes leave runners, man. Look at this, 3.87%. Over here, 2.17. I got 6%. There's one trade that I took here, 6%. And look at the time. Look at how crazy this is. 710, 710, 722. Because you see a pattern. You see this? Look at this. 2%, 2.20%. I was like, holy, you know, price is really moving here. This is a pre-London, pre-New York trade. So I was like, all right, for the third trade, I'm gonna leave a runner because I see this volume. Because the market is very repetitive like this. See 710? That was literally like 2 trades. 2% trades that happen at the same time. Exactly at 710, back to back. So on the third day, I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to hold a trade here. Made 6%. You know, so it kind of like also depends on the market. You're gonna see what the market does and what it can give you. Here's like a 3% trade, but I focus more on percent nowadays than I do on RR. I used to focus a lot more on RR, but as I matured in the market, I stopped using RR like that. Then now I shifted gears to using percent. So I can have like a 1-to-1 be maybe like 1.5%. You know what I mean? And then always looking to see how can I balance that risk. Because RR is a great metric to use to, in general, understand how good the trade can be. But it's not the end all and be all. You don't always have to have like stop loss like this and then take profit like that. Because sometimes, you know what happens? Sometimes you take a trade and then price reverses like that. And then shortly before it hits your take profit, then what? You're going to have a 1-to-2 become a losing trade just because you didn't have a 1-to-3. And then you're going to see like you have more greed governing your trading than anything else. But look at this, man. Price coming down here. It's going through that support level, still heading down towards our 4,000 mark. Just like we anticipated. That 4,000 would become a magnet for price if the sellers take back control, which they did when they broke the support area here. But in terms of a re-entry, because I know some of y'all are just thinking like, okay, so how can I get a trade right now? You know, but the truth is, man, the way the market is set up, it's in a distribution. Look at the way it's set up here. It's just creating new lower lows. It's not setting up like literally anything. Unless maybe, oh, the 15-minute has clean range. There's no support over there. Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing. The 1-minute has nothing either. There's a huge range over here. You might want to wait for the 5-minute to break by 4,003. But to get a continuation, yeah, there's nothing. I want to get away from RR. How do you calculate the percentage? Can you explain it a bit more, please? It's either in any given trade, I'm risking around 1 to 1.5%. Right? Any given trade. But it doesn't mean I have to lose 1%. Correct? Like if you look at the trade that we took in London Open, I was risking 1%. But realistically, out of closed out at A, 0.50, negative 0.50%. So when you see me secure my profit at where I secure it at, do you look at that as a negative RR or would you look at it as a positive RR? You know, now it's kind of like getting a bit more complicated, correct? And that's what I love. I love the fact that I can control my risk, because that's the only thing that you ever can control in trading is your risk. Right? So where was our stop? Down over here? Down over here, I secured over there. But I was going to close out at, I think, negative 20 pips. So in essence, what was my risk to reward? Realistically, I closed at a 1.88 RR, almost a 2. 1-to-2 RR. Does that change the fact that my stop loss is here? No, it's because I'm fluid with my risk. You know, I'm fluid with it. You don't always got to approach risk the same exact way. But, you know, I think this is something that all I can say is whenever you're going to have a profitable day, your number one goal is whenever you're taking, let's say, your second trade for the day, is always how can you protect or limit the downside? So if you have a profitable day, how can you maximize your gains and limit the downside so you don't give back to the market what you made for the day? Or if you've had a negative day, how could you limit your downside so if the next trade is a losing trade, that you lose less? That's the whole idea behind, you know, how you're going to manage your risk. So you compound your winning days and you limit risk on your losing days. Sometimes the market needs space to move. Do you care about RR and a chance of regretting that you don't secure a win? Yeah, that's why I said I'm a very big fan of securing profits. That's why I don't use RR. You know, this is subjective. It's subjective because, you know, market conditions shift. Like price can move like this. And we've spoken about this on stream before. It gives you that reversal confirmation signal. So instead of losing, let's say instead you're at 21 pips, you can put your stop loss to break even. If it gives you that reversal confirmation signal in profit. Or if it does it slightly close to your entries, then you can still always lose less, because the market will always give you some insurance. And man, if like you've been watching the stream and you've been paying attention to the stream for at least the past month, you would understand some of these concepts we're talking about, because it happens like weekly. It happens, and we talk about it, and we usually call it out and say, okay, you know, the market right now is giving these sellers here an insurance, right? It's telling them that it's about to reverse on them. Now the smart ones are going to manage their risk, but the greedy ones are going to have to pay a higher price. And you know, we speak about this, but today we did not have that situation happen today. But just lock in, tune into the stream a bit more, and we'll show you like different ways that, you know, we look at risk, because it happens. And when it happens, we're like, damn, you know, like, how we know that was going to happen? Because sometimes that happening is our entry confirmation signal. So it's like you're looking at the previous players and you're like, okay, so you know, they're a bit in trouble over here, but I see that the daily is biased, so that's only adding confluence to my trade. So if we break their risk management model, then that's going to add volume for us to go up, because we've seen this happen a lot of the time. We see a trade go against us, but we don't do anything to manage that risk. Like, you know it deep down in your gut that, man, this trade is going to be a losing trade. You know this, but you do nothing, you know? So you got to pay attention to that feeling. Every time you take a trade and you're going to be like, man, this trade is giving me a hard time, you got to see how can you approach that trade in the future, because it's going to happen to you again. But this time, you're going to be ready. This time, you're going to lose less. And then through managing your risk, guess what? You actually learn how to compound your wins, because you're focusing on your how to limit your losing trades. You better understand how you can add on to a winning trade. So for example, yeah, let's say this price is let's bring it here. So let's say price is accumulating like this, right? And let's say we just do the same thing that we took during the London Open today. Then we take a buy like this, right? So let's just say stop loss is right here, and then we're targeting something like this. All right, so let's say today something like this happened. Price went up like this, and you know, we haven't hit our break-even mark yet, and then this starts to happen. Then you're like, oh shit, okay, you know, like price is giving me a hard time, because when I got into this trade, I wasn't expecting price to consolidate. I was just expecting a candlestick to continue to move up bullish. But now today the market gave you a different situation. It did something like this. So what you're going to do here is, once you notice that, you're going to reduce your risk, because the same reason that you got into this trade will be the same reason that if price breaks these lows, that the sellers now have a probability of that becoming the winning trade and no longer your buys. So if it was to break like this, you get a candlestick break that accumulation like this, there's a high chance that they're going to be coming in for your stop loss. Correct? Because it's the same entry model, but now the probabilities have shifted. But now look at this. Now, because you're focusing on risk, you're like, okay, so I've reduced risk. Instead of risking, let's say 15 pips, 17 pips, now I'm risking 3 pips. So if I'm risking 3 pips and we're still at entries, maybe I can even scale into my position, because it's still the same entry model. My only concern is if it breaks these lows, I want to lose less. But if it breaks these highs, then it increases the probability that price can continue to move in my direction. So I could scale into this trade and, let's see, put my same stop loss where I think it shouldn't break. That's 10 pips. That creates 13 pips total from your initial 17 pip stop loss. So you're still losing less than what you got into the trade, but you've given yourself a chance to make more money. And you know the thing about risk, it's fluid. So if you get into the second trade, maybe in a situation where you have like a bigger stop loss, for example, you can even put that to break even now. You know, so that first position becomes risk-free, and then the second position, all you gotta have is a 10.7 pip stop loss. You know, 10.7 pip risk, because your first trade is a break even, but now you've given yourself the chance to maximize gains. So like when you're focusing on risk, that's what's gonna happen. Opportunities are gonna exist where you never thought they could before. But when you're focusing on what you can't control, which is just the profit, then you know, then you're never gonna learn, because all you want is profit. So you're like, Ice Cube, give me those green beans, give me that mashed potatoes. Don't you like mashed potatoes? You know, you just gotta be aggressively trying to get it out the market. You know, you gotta finesse that. You know, you gotta finesse it, man. You gotta think about risk. Nightbot is slacking. Hey, where is Nightbot? Nightbot, where you at? I identify as a risk fluid trader now. Uh, 100%. First time watching your live stream and I can relate a lot. Thanks, champ. Welcome, welcome, Heng. Yeah, I think like you're only on the stream you're gonna get better, man. You're gonna get better. You can't get worse. Like honestly, you cannot get worse watching the stream. You know, some of the streamers are gonna promote revenge trading, they're gonna promote some other stuff, but you know, it's like you're never gonna go wrong here. Unless it's something that, you know, you guys disagree with me, then, you know, then you can mention that and we can look at that and say, okay, you know, maybe you have a point, maybe you don't have a point. But when I tell you guys to follow the trend, when I give you tools to help you follow the trend, to help you stay at least on the right side of the market, I think that's all positive advice. You know, if price is moving up, you want to move up with it. You don't want to counter the move. A lot of the time it feels good to counter the move, but you're going against the overall volume. You comment one capital letter and it's going on you. Oh, I think the Nightbot says like 7 capital letters and then it will block it. Or if somebody, you know, like Tall Trader, I think his whole name is in capitals. But I think it's a good amount of capitals. But if you got somebody with like a name full of capitals and you try and add them, then Nightbot will remove it. Hey, Forex Prodigy, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Little accumulation break here. So I was a bit distracted, but I was kind of watching this play out. I bought at 4,004, man, because this is all I can do. I can just put the food on the spoon. I can't feed you, right? So it's like you gotta understand the concept, so you're just chasing signals. Are we gonna drop to 4K? I thought we could. It was coming down nicely until we got this little console breakout over here. It's a nice little volume that came in too, about like 15 pip push. Right here, you just remove this. Little console breakout with a daily bias being bullish. Reason why I said I also would not have taken these sells, because for me it still looks bullish on the daily. So you can see right here, these sells are a bit sketchy, and the way it broke was also quite nasty. But you see, it finally kind of like bottomed out a bit. If you look at the way price moves, it kind of bottomed out here in the sense of it filled the range first of all, and then it started to create some kind of a structure. You see this? This is different from what this is. This is distribution. These are like V-shaped moves, like very harsh. And then here it started to create a bit more foundation to have that breakout. There's a reason why we catch these trades, chat. There's a reason why we catch zero drawdown trades like this. It's because we first wait for the foundation to get built. And once you got a strong foundation, then the market should say, okay, you know, we can move up from here. I think now we can go to the next level. So it's like the same thing that happened here. Look at oh my days. Look at this, man. You never miss a move. Remember I said the people who miss the buys earlier on? Man, there's not buy position until this move right here. Like all of this, there's been no buy signal over here. There's no like, even you can look at it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. If you think there was a buy position, send me a chart. Using the what you're learning in the WAP database, send me a chart if you think there's a buy position here. Then we're going to look at the buy position and see how that trade played out. But there was no buy position. Price came down and it gave you a re-entry down over here. even a better entry than what we took all the way up over here. But let's just say lower. Not better, but lower. But it came down to the same point. You see, this is the babushka dolls. This is a baby babushka doll, and this is a bigger babushka doll here. Correct? Chat, like, you can't make this shit up. Like, literally, we talked about this in the beginning of the stream. Look at this. There's a small babushka, big babushka. Gotta be like John Wick, man. Gotta. Is it? They call it John Wick, the babushka in John Wick? Isn't that what they call him? Pigs got slaughtered. It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. TetraFX concept, zero drawdown. Let's go. Come on now. It's either you gotta lock in or you lock yourself out. Simple. Binary, ones and zeros. You're either locked in or you're locked out. Oh yeah, it's called the Baba Yaga. That's true. The Baba Yaga is also means Baba Yaga is like scary. It's like the witch who lives in the woods. The boogeyman. For America call it the boogeyman. What do y'all call it? Like in your local languages, do you have something similar? Like, what do you call it? What do you call the boogeyman? In Russia, it's Baba Yaga. Shaitan. Well, I think Shaitan. El Viejo de la Bolsa. TP 4004. There's a nice little break. How much did it do here? About like 19 pips, 20 pips. That's why you go break even at 20 if you guys have realized. We usually go break even by like 20 pips. Because there's a certain psychological resistance following an entry model. So, you know, like trading, you're finding structure in chaos. And sometimes, man, you don't see it. You don't see it. You don't see it because there's nothing to see over here. Correct? So like, how do I know to put my stop loss to break even when we're coming towards like 20 pips? That's why with my signals, I never secure before 16 pips. It's either 16 pip or my stop loss gets hit. You know, so how do I know also about like 20 pips? I think is like the most safest. You know, by 16 pip, if we hit TP at 16 pips, we're already heading up to 20 most of the time anyway. So I know by that time that we're heading towards 20, we need to put a stop loss to break even, because there's an invisible barrier there that you're not going to see, and you're only going to feel through your execution of the system over and over again. It's never always on the charts. That's what I mean. Trading is never just always shown to you, but like what you're seeing in terms of candlesticks. And I think the best way to learn is through doing. So instead of like having an indicator tell you there's a volume or a POC over there, I think the best way is like understand your entry model, and through repetition, you're going to start to realize certain patterns that it has. And the beautiful thing is like, once you see that consistency, that means you're finding your edge. You're starting to find your edge because you're starting to create structure where there's randomness. And you're like, okay, so you know, I'm onto something here, but how can I make this consistently work for me? Because everything works. Right? But sometimes, you know, I think you might be over trading it or trading in the wrong conditions, but you have a general idea of what it is that you're looking for. So you just have to keep refining, peeling those layers. Vic, I noticed you know Swahili. Yeah, I know Swahili. Najua Swahili. See, Najua Swahili. But speaking it is difficult. Unless, like, you know, with Swahili, it's a flow. It's like I need to get to the I need to like hook onto a flow, then I can speak it like normally. But if you ask me on the spot, like, oh shit, you speak Swahili, then it's gonna make me feel a certain way. Then I'm like, fuck, do I? Then I can't speak it anymore. What period do you use for your SMAs? 50 and 8. You can download it in the description. You know, it's like when somebody asks you like, oh, what's your favorite movie? Then you're like, what are movies? You just get put on the spot and then you forget. Or what's your favorite food? Then I'm like, damn, what the hell is food? Klotzak. This is why I shouldn't speak languages that I don't know on stream. Had to Google what that meant. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna end off the stream here though. Hope you all had a good session today, and we're gonna see how Freaky Friday goes tomorrow. But Godspeed everybody, and as of right now, there's nothing that I'm looking for. Maybe buys above resistance here would be a good idea. Above that's 4,009. Yeah, all right. Cheers. Thank you everybody. We're gonna be watching out for this. Maybe I'll take a buy later, maybe not, but we're still definitely bullish on the daily bias. So I appreciate y'all. Adios.